Good morning, students. We'll go to the class 8, period 8 of the topic photosynthesis in higher plants. Yesterday we dealt about the C3 cycle and C4 cycle. So the part of the dark reactions. So in the late reactions, the ATP and NADP that are being synthesized are being used by C3 plants and C4 plants for the synthesis of the glucose. So along with that, we have already studied the difference between the light reaction and the dark reaction. Now today's class we will go with the differences in between the C3 pathway and the C4 pathway. So what are the differences? What differences or how you are going to differentiate C3 cycle and C4 cycle? So first we will go with C3 pathway, how it differentiate from pathway. So based on the study, the scientists who have discovered, we can take this point as a differences. It was studied by Melvin Calvin. So this cycle is also called as Calvin cycle. So it is also called as Calvin cycle, who with the help of an algae, in an algae he demonstrated this experiment and found that the first carbon compound is a 3-carbon compound, and as the first stable product is a 3-carbon compound, the name was called as C3 cycle. So the contribution of the scientist is that he discovered this or demonstrated this cycle. So the C3 pathway is also known as Calvin cycle, while the C4 pathway it is called as Hatch and Slack cycle. So the teamwork of the scientists who studied the cycle in C4 plants, and those scientists are Hatch and Slack. So it is called as Hatch and Slack cycle. Then if you just see the figures of both the schematic representation of both the C3 and C4, you will be able to differentiate what are the points. So now here what happens? It is called as C3 cycle. The first stable product that is being formed. So what happens here? Process of carboxylation is in both the processes. So looking at the figure or knowing the concept, how can you differentiate both the cycles? So here the first stable product is a 3-carbon compound. First stable product is 3-carbon compound, while in the C4 pathway, first stable product is 4-carbon compound, and that is oxaloacetic acid. It is oxaloacetic acid. So the first stable compound that is being formed by the C3 pathway is phosphoenol pyridate, which is a 3-carbon compound, while in C4 pathway the first stable product is a 4-carbon compound, and that is nothing but oxaloacetic acid. Then here the first carbon dioxide, if you go the fixation of carbon dioxide. So which is the molecule or which is the component that helps in fixation of carbon dioxide? In both the processes carboxylation occurs, that is fixation of carbon dioxide occurs. But what happens in 3 and what happens in 4? How there is fixation? Which is the molecule that is responsible for the fixation of carbon dioxide? Here the first carbon dioxide acceptor is first carbon dioxide acceptor is phosphoenol pyric acid, while in C4 first carbon dioxide acceptor. You can just look into the figure. What are the figures? With the figures you are able to identify. So the first carbon dioxide acceptor is in C3 is ribulose biphosphate, while the first carbon acceptor is phosphoenol pyrite. It occurs in the only one cell, that is the mesophyll cell, while in C4 path occurs in both the cells. In both the process there is fixation of carbon dioxide, that is carboxylation process occurs, where there is here the carbon dioxide, the first carbon dioxide oxide, the molecule or a chemical component which absorbs the carbon dioxide is RuBP, while in C4 pathway the first carbon dioxide acceptor is phosphoenol pyrite. Then here in this the next what are the points can be there? You can go with the byproducts or the number of cells, what are the processes involved in it, what are the intermediate components that will be formed, yes, and the main process is carboxylation. Here carboxylation occurs only once. While in C4 pathway carboxylation occurs twice. Once only in the mesophyll tissue where there is a simple anatomy of the leaf, while C4 pathway occurs in both the cells, mesophyll cell and bundle sheath cells, where there is fixation of carbon dioxide. So in C3 pathway it is only carboxylation, absorption of carbon dioxide or fixation of carbon dioxide is only once, while in C4 pathway the carboxylation process, fixation of carbon dioxide is twice. One is in the mesophyll cell and other in the bundle sheath cells. So a special type of anatomy is found in C4 plants, that is the Kranz anatomy. This Kranz anatomy shows dimorphism of the chlorocamatous cells, where it is having the mesophyll cell and the bundle sheath cells. The bundle sheath cells are larger. So this process occurs in the two cells. Two cells are involved in the process or in the C4 cycle. And moreover, there is fixation of carbon dioxide. In that process, here the C3 cycle is less efficient. The process in C3 pathway, the C3 plants or the plants that undergo the C3 pathway or the C3 cycle, they are less efficient in utilizing we know that carbon dioxide is present in the atmosphere as one of the raw material. Yes, it is present in the atmosphere as to 0.03% to 0.04% in the atmosphere, but C3 plants are less efficient. They utilize the utilization of carbon dioxide, that is they are less efficient in utilizing the atmospheric carbon dioxide. Yes, they are less efficient. They are not up to the mark. They are less efficient in utilizing of the atmospheric carbon dioxide, while C4 plants are more efficient in utilizing atmospheric carbon dioxide. Less efficient in utilizing the atmospheric carbon dioxide, while C4 plants are more efficient in utilizing the atmospheric carbon dioxide, and this process occurs in all the C3 plants where they have the normal leaf anatomy. Normal leaf anatomy means what? There is upper epidermis, lower epidermis, there is a mesophyll tissue. If it is usually the dicots have palaceid cells and spongy cells, where the palaceid cells are tightly arranged, mesophyll spongy cells are loosely arranged. So if while in monocots, upper epidermis and lower epidermis, homogeneous mesophyll tissue with only one type of cells. So here C3 pathway occurs in the leaves of the plants which show normal leaf anatomy. It occurs in plants with the leaf that have normal leaf anatomy. Normal leaf anatomy. Why? As we have studied in C4 plants, there is a special type of anatomy known as Kranz anatomy. So it occurs in plants which have Kranz anatomy, which have the Kranz anatomy, or you can go with the one more point on the involvement of the cell. Only one cell is involved in the process, while in C4 two different cells are involved in the process. So these are some of the differences that is better be known to you all to differentiate the C3 and C4 cycle. So if you follow these plans, you can understand even the C3 cycle. So what are the points? Once again, I like to repeat it. What are the differences? It is also called as Calvin cycle. Why it is called as Calvin cycle? It was discovered by the scientist Melvin Calvin. On his contributions to the field of science, the cycle is named as Calvin cycle. And why the C4 pathway was discovered by the teamwork of the scientist. So with the collaboration with the scientist, so that it was those scientists are Hatch and Slack. So the cycle is called as Hatch and Slack cycle. Why? The first stable product that is being formed in C3 pathway is a 3-carbon compound phosphoenol pyruvate. Yes, and so this cycle is also called as C3 cycle. Then the first stable product formed in C4 pathway is a 4-carbon compound, and that is oxaloacetic acid. Then with the first component molecule that accepts the carbon dioxide, that is which helps in fixation of carbon dioxide. So the first carbon dioxide acceptor is RuBP. By in C4 pathway, the first carbon dioxide acceptor is phosphoenol pyruvate. Ribulose by phosphate. Then carboxylation occurs only once, while carboxylation occurs twice. One in the mesophyll cell and the other in the bundle sheet cell, where decarboxylation of oxaloacetic acid produces the pyruvic acid and carbon dioxide. That carbon dioxide enters again into the Calvin cycle. Then it is less efficient in utilizing the atmospheric carbon dioxide, while C4 pathway or the plants are more efficient in utilizing the atmospheric carbon dioxide. Here it occurs in the plants which have the normal leaf anatomy, while here it occurs in the plants which have the Kranz anatomy. Already I said here what is Kranz anatomy. It is a special type of anatomy found in some of the C4 plants, where the vascular bundles are surrounded by large sized cells called as bundle sheet cells as a breadth, and these leaves anatomy also have the normal mesophyll cells. Yes, so that type of anatomy is known as the Kranz anatomy, and here only one type of cell is being involved in the process, while in C4 pathway is the two different cells are being involved in the process. So we have studied the light reaction and the dark reaction. Now in the light reaction there is a last process where there is no synthesis of ATP, but still some of the plants undergo these processes. We know that there are certain reactions. This reaction is called as photorespiration. So next chapter or the next concept is of photorespiration. So we will go with the definition photorespiration, why it is included in the light reaction, and what happens during the process of photorespiration. Photorespiration. Also known as PCO cycle or CETO cycle. Yes, photorespiration or PCO cycle or CETO cycle. The scientists who demonstrated or studied this process were Ticker and Dio, who studied in the plants, tobacco plants, that is nicotine. In the plants, they studied this process, they observed this process in tobacco leaves. The scientists who proposed the cycle or discovered this type cycle are Ticker and Dio, while demonstrated this experiment or this process by using the tobacco leaves. Around 1959. Yes, this process is being conducted by three different cell organelles. peroxisomes and the mitochondria. Three are the organelles. These three organelles are the site of photorespiration. So we will first go with the definition. What is the definition of photorespiration? It is a process occurring in the green cells of plants in the presence of light with the release of excess amount of carbon dioxide. The definition is already been given in the textbook, but still, what is the definition of the photorespiration? This is a process of respiration that is occurring in the presence of the light. Yes, so it is a process occurring in the green cells of the plants in the presence of light with the release of excess amount of carbon dioxide, and in a cell, three organelles are involved in the process. The first, it occurs in the chloroplast, then peroxisomes and mitochondria. So these are the three cell organelles which are the site of photorespiration or which are involved in the process of photorespiration. The schematic representation of this is not been given in the NCERT textbook, but they studied this process, and I will give you the schematic representation of this cycle to make it clear what actually happens. Why the scientists Ticker and Theo, they call it as a wasteless process. Wasteful, it is a wasteful process. Why? There is no, in this process, as I'll represent the schematic representation, you will come to know that in this there is no synthesis of ATP, there is no any formation of any glucose product, and moreover there is excess evolution of carbon dioxide. This process releases the carbon dioxide. For this reason, these scientists called it as a waste process. Why? It is using the ATP. It is using the ATP, nor it is helping in formation of any glucose component, but it is conducted, and in that the end product that is formed is carbon dioxide, which is released in excess amount. So they refer this cycle as a waste cycle. Where there is no ATP, there is no formation of glucose, only excess amount of carbon dioxide is being produced. So we will see that just as an external information. This information is for external purpose, what actually happens during photorespiration. So three organelles of the cell are involved in the process. Those are chloroplast, peroxisomes and mitochondria. So we will go with the schematic representation. The first process occurs in the chloroplast, then the peroxisomes, then into the mitochondria. Yes, so I said this representation, schematic representation, is not there in the NCERT textbook. As an external knowledge, I am dealing with this. So the first reaction or the first process that occurs is in the chloroplast. The first organelle that is involved in the process of chloroplast, and in the chloroplast we know that ribulose biphosphate is already present. This ribulose biphosphate, when it undergoes carboxylation, it forms phosphoenol pyruvate, which leads to form glucose and regenerate RuBP. There is C3 cycle. This is a normal process. If RuBP undergo carboxylation, it will absorb carbon dioxide, where it is converted into phosphoenol pyruvic acid, which is converted into glucose, and the C3 cycle is being conducted. But this photorespiration occurs when the concentration of carbon dioxide is less in the outer atmosphere, when the concentration of carbon dioxide reduces. And the enzyme, we know that Rubisco. Yes, the enzyme Rubisco is having more affinity towards carbon dioxide than oxygen. So carboxylase, oxygenase, ribulose bisphosphate, carboxylase, oxygenase. This Rubisco in the C3 cycle, it is having more affinity towards carbon dioxide than if it is undergoing carboxylation. If it absorbs carbon dioxide, it conducts the C3 cycle. But when the amount of carbon dioxide decreases, then it undergoes the process of oxidation, where it gets oxidized by and absorbs the oxygen. It absorbs oxygen to form phosphoenol glycolic acid. Yes, so in case if the concentration of carbon dioxide decreases in the atmosphere, the chloroplast, that is in the chloroplast, ribulose biphosphate undergo the process of oxidation. It absorbs oxygen or it undergoes, RuBP undergoes the process of oxidation to form phosphoglycolic acid. It forms 3 molecules of phosphoglycolic acid. I repeat it. In the absence of, or if the concentration of carbon dioxide decreases in the atmosphere, then photorespiration occurs, where ribulose biphosphate undergo the process of oxidation, where it absorbs oxygen to form the product. It forms the product, that is 2 molecules. It forms 2 molecules of phosphoglycolic acid. So here the first product, it is this phosphoglycolic acid, is the first product formed by the fixation of fixation of oxygen by RuBP, and this process occurs in the chloroplast of the cell. So this is the chloroplast. So in the chloroplast, by oxidation of ribulose biphosphate, 2 molecules of phosphoglycolic acid are being formed in the chloroplast. From the chloroplast, this phosphoglycolic acid enters into peroxisomes. From the chloroplast, it enters into the peroxisomes through the plasmodesmata or diffusion process. Phosphoglycolic acid enters into the peroxisomes as glycolic acid. There again it undergoes oxidation. That means there is intake of oxygen in the peroxisomes. The phosphoglycolic acid that is being produced in the chloroplast enters into the peroxisomes, which undergoes oxidation. It absorbs carbon dioxide to form glyoxylic acid and hydrogen peroxide. It forms glycolic acid and hydrogen peroxide. Now this hydrogen peroxide, in the presence of the enzyme catalase, is converted into oxygen and water. Yes, oxygen and water, where water can be released or oxygen can be released. So the hydrogen peroxide and glycolic acid undergo the process of oxidation to form glyoxylic acid and hydrogen peroxide. With the help of the enzyme catalase, the hydrogen peroxide is converted into molecular oxygen and water, which are being released into the cytoplasm or can be retained in the cell. By the glyoxylic acid, with the help of the enzyme transaminase, yes, it is converted into glycine, an amino compound, that is glycine. So this whole process occur in the peroxisomes. So what happens in peroxisomes? Phosphoglycolic acid, the product of the chloroplast, by oxidation of RuBP is being formed in the chloroplast, enters or move into the peroxisomes, where it gets oxidized to form glyoxylic acid and hydrogen peroxide. By the hydrogen peroxide, with the help of the enzyme catalase, is converted into molecular oxygen or water, and it, with the help of the enzyme transaminase, the glyoxylic acid is converted into glycine. Now this glycine enters into the mitochondria. So the third organelle is mitochondria. So the glycine that is being produced in the peroxisomes now enter into the mitochondria, an amino acid, where the glycine interacts to form serine and carbon dioxide, which is being released as an output. Glycine interact in the mitochondria and produces serine and carbon dioxide. So this serine is retained in the the mitochondria, while the carbon dioxide is being as a released outside into the cytoplasm of the cell as an output. So in this whole process, these all reactions, there is release of carbon dioxide. So excess amount of carbon dioxide is being released. Why? The serine in the mitochondria forms into it forms hydroxypyruvic acid. It is converted into hydroxypyruvic acid, which is released into the cytoplasm of the cell as a product from the mitochondria to form phosphoglyceric acid. You might be familiar with this one, phosphoglyceric acid or phosphoenol pyruvate, that which enters into the C3 cycle, and this helps in the formation of glucose outside. Yes, there is here the serine that is being synthesized or produced in the, when it is released out, The released out component is being used up by the another cell, by the another component of the cell to form hydroxypyruvic acid, which is converted to phosphoglyceric acid. That is the component that is required where there is, which undergoes C3 cycle, and that in the C3 cycle there is formation of a triose sugar in the form of glucose. So in this whole process you see the ultimate products: phosphoglycolic acid, glyoxylic acid, hydrogen peroxide, glycine and serine with excess amount of carbon dioxide. Yes, in all this process little amount of ATP is used. In none of these reactions you can find there is synthesis of ATP, and there is no formation of synthesis of ATP nor synthesis of NADP, but in all of this process excess amount of carbon dioxide is being formed, that is being released out to balance the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So as the excess amount of carbon dioxide is being released, now you will be able to understand why the scientists called it as a waste process. Why they called it as a waste process? Because here not ATP is synthesized by the organelles, nor there is synthesis of NADP, and moreover it is utilizing oxygen and releasing excess amount of carbon dioxide. So they refer this cycle as waste cycle, wasteful cycle with the release of excess amount of carbon dioxide. So photorespiration is such respiration which is occurring in 3 cells with excess amount of release of carbon dioxide in the presence of light. So once again we will recapitulate what is the process. So already I said that there are 3 organelles involved in the process within the cell. Those are chloroplast, peroxisomes and the mitochondria. So when does this process occurs? When the atmospheric carbon dioxide is reduces by 1%. If there is decrease in the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere by 1%, that process occurs. Normally what happens is the ribulose biphosphate with the help of the enzyme Rubisco, it undergoes carboxylation with the formation of phosphoenol pyruvate that helps in the formation of glucose, where a small C3 cycle or Calvin cycle occurs. But if the concentration of carbon dioxide is reduced, the rubisco undergo the process of oxidation. It undergoes oxidation, it absorbs oxygen. One thing is that this rubisco is said to be as an universal enzyme which can absorb both carbon dioxide and oxygen. It is having the ability to absorb. This enzyme have the ability to absorb both carbon dioxide and oxygen, but it is having more affinity towards carbon dioxide. But if the amount of carbon dioxide in the external atmosphere is being decreased, then it undergoes the oxidation process. By the process of oxidation, RUBP absorbs atmospheric oxygen to form phosphoglycolic acid. So the product that is being formed in the chloroplast is 2 molecules of phosphoglycolic acid. Now this phosphoglycolic acid enters into the peroxisomes, where it also undergoes oxidation, where it absorbs oxygen from the external protoplasm or from the external environment to form hydrogen peroxide and glyoxylic acid. Hydrogen peroxide with the help of the enzyme catalase is catalyzed to form molecular oxygen and water, while glyoxylic acid is converted into an amino compound, that is glycine. Yes, so the end product of the peroxisome is the glycine. This glycine will enter into the mitochondria, where it interacts in the mitochondria to release carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is released out from the mitochondria to the cytoplasm of the cell or the protoplasm of the cell. So that carbon dioxide can also be used by the neighboring organelle for the carboxylation process. While the serine is converted into hydroxypyruvic acid with the help of the enzymes, it is converted into phosphoglyceric acid, which also in the another cell or another organelle it can help, or it enters into the C3 cycle. So in total photorespiration, it is a process occurring in the green cells of the plants in the presence of light with excess evolution of carbon dioxide. So this process, though there is no utilization, there is no synthesis of ATP nor NADP, but there is excess release of carbon dioxide. So here this is not applicable. This process does not occur in the C4 plants. So photorespiration occurs with the involvement of 3 organelles in the cell, with the end product as carbon dioxide. So today's topic question is, so we have learned the differences between C3 and C4 pathway. So differentiate. The question is differentiate C3 and C4 pathway, which is a 5 marks question. While if you go with photorespiration, 1 mark for the definition, define photorespiration. So 2 questions of this class are differentiate C3 and C4 pathway, which is for 5 marks, and 1 mark question, or that is what define photorespiration. And another point can be, 1 more question is, which are the organelles involved in the photorespiration. So which are the organelles involved? Chloroplast, peroxisomes and mitochondria. I am saying you all once again, this representation is not given in the NCERT textbook, the schematic representation, to make you all understand what actually happens in the process, what happens and why the scientist, what was the concept of the scientist. But there is no synthesis of ATP, but there is synthesis of, or there is formation of excess of carbon dioxide with the utilization of oxygen. So sometimes if the concentration of the carbon dioxide is reduced in the atmosphere, plants can also release carbon dioxide. This process clearly implies that even carbon dioxide concentration decreases, then the plants can undergo oxidation and can release carbon dioxide. So this is the 8th period. After this, the last is the factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis is the last part of the photosynthetic topics. So this is the process of photorespiration. In next class we will deal with what are the factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis and the law of limiting factors. What is the concept of F.F. Blackman on the law of limiting factors. So we will end up with the photorespiration, and next class we will deal with the law of limiting factors proposed by F.F. Blackman and the factors that affect the rate of photosynthesis. Thank you.